Flipping Pages podcast. This is me, the host of the podcast, Sean Charipan, and I have my co-hosts Rehma Hussain, Deborshi Shamunto, and Orno Mojumdar with me today. The topic for today's discussion is academic books or non-fiction books versus fictional books. Which one do you prefer for pleasure reading? So, the one person I know who gulps, eats, and sleeps on non-fiction and academic books is Rehma. So Rehma, why? I never understand why people enjoy non-fiction books for
First
pleasure.
of all, it's not true that I read voraciously non-fiction. It is definitely not true. I don't do that often, but I would definitely like to. And coming back to the why part of it, I guess it's because I don't have many friends. That actually initiated the entire reading for fun thing for me.
So
Because-
like then does it like if you don't have friends, does it not make sense to read fictional books where you can actually meet more people because it has more characters and all of that? Does
Yes, but characters do have friends. I don't. So it's better to read about Aristotle and Plato than to read about, I don't know,
Aristotle
any
and
character.
Dante, which is a nice. You should read Aristotle and Dante instead. It's a pretty nice gay romance.
Maybe I would,
You
but
should.
I don't think it's a very fast-paced world and we don't have much time. There are always assignments and projects that we are constantly being pushed into, just like here in this master's course, because our coursework is shrinked into like 14 months. Like the entire thing which should have been 24 months, 2 years ideally, is shrinked into 14 months. So we are always bombarded with stuff to do, stuff to read, so we don't have much time to know about the romance between Aristotle and Dante. It's all about Dennis McQuail, I guess.
The fact that I don't know that guy. Pretty funny to me. Okay, Deborshi, wake up and tell us about your opinion on this.
I think I am someone who likes reading both the things, fictional and non-fiction. But I think studying papers or non-fiction books in general started when I was in college, in my second or third year, when I got interested about the world in general, and that is a part that is really fascinating. I think people should make them accustomed to that fascinating part of non-fiction world, because you get to know about real people, their philosophies and their struggles. So let's say I'm reading a philosophical text by anyone, let's say Plato, or I'm just reading about these thinkers or what they have written, something, maybe what Dostoevsky writes. So I'm reading it, and it's such, these texts are so difficult that you have to really put effort to understand what they mean and their philosophies and everything. And they have a lot of things going on between the lines. I think that is the part which really fascinates me. So yeah, that's why I read non-fiction, but it's not true
That
that
is why I would not read non-fiction if it comes to pleasure reading. You just mentioned it takes effort to understand the things in between the lines. I don't care. If I'm reading for pleasure, I just want to know if Susan loves Riley or not.
Yeah,
I just want to know if Susan's mother is a wicked queen or not. That's all I care about. I don't find pleasure in trying to understand a Russian novel. That is not, it's too much. Like, I want to pleasure read when I am done reading or done doing things that cause me a lot of stress anyway. So when I say pleasure reading, I want something that calms me down. Now, of course, it's subjective. What calms you down does not necessarily calms me down. But then I find it very, very difficult to understand people who read non-fiction. The thing is, I have tried. It's not like I'm just speaking from a very a perspective which is just my thoughts. I have tried reading non-fiction. I have given it a shot, but it did not work out for me at all. So that's why it's like a big. The reason I chose this topic, because this curiosity got even more intense after I came around you guys. No offense, you guys are smart. That's a good thing. But I've never been around people who actually are smart and read academic books and get fun out of it. I've never been around such people. But I actually got curious about this whole thing because I used to look at you guys and I used to see you guys have fun, and it made me so curious that what is wrong with me. Like, is there something that I lack? Because you guys read both fiction, non-fiction. You are the legends. You are the superior tier.
Not
I
true.
think-
I just read romance by Colleen Hoover and Nicholas Sparks. I can't go beyond that.
I think
guess-
it's a very important point that you mentioned, that we maybe when I'm done with all my assignments, I would like to go to something which is very light and
Yeah.
I don't have to invest. That is the whole point of pleasure reading. But I think it is very subjective, that what you like. Maybe I'm a person who is interested in knowing philosophy, let's say philosophy, or is interested in politics. So I am actually so what we understand by investing automatically gets equated with a lot of effort. But
yeah.
when I'm reading something that I'm actually liking, then
You're having fun investing.
yeah, exactly.
I get it.
So
But
that
also,
becomes pleasure.
Non-fiction, they are not always stressful, as you mentioned. Like, it doesn't have to be stressing you out
Very
or
taxing. It
exhausting.
does not
Yes,
have-
it can be relaxing and it can be very engaging. Suppose you know about how people think. If I give you certain examples about, maybe when we learned about medium and message back in second semester or third semester, we actually read many articles and many books talking about how people are thinking, or how the media is making them think in a certain way. Like, this kind of mind control is like mind boggling for me. It's so interesting. Like, that is a third party. Like, you choose the content, or at least you feel that you are choosing the content,
Yeah.
but everything is controlled by someone. That is so freaky. And also the very fact that we being women, or the entire gender scenario, the fiasco that is going on around the world, there is some part of us that really wants to know, okay, what is happening. So even if some people really don't like to engage in the real stuff, but also few of us actually find for, okay, no, that connection to reality to keep us grounded, that
Yeah.
the butterfly world is not real. So that kind of a thing. And also, even I remember that sometimes you also struggle with focusing on a novel,
Yeah.
on a fictional novel.
Yeah.
You say, oh, it is
Reading
not that
slump.
it
I
is
hit
not
a
that
reading slump, yeah.
engaging.
It's very true. I think it's equally true for non-fiction
Yes,
reading as
yes,
well.
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, I get tired. I'll not open a book. Maybe when I'm doing assignments at a stretch, I'll not go to a serious book. That happens as
Yeah.
well. It's not like
I think that's every reader. Like,
Yeah.
there are times when you
Huh.
don't read something for 2 months and then you finish 4 books in like 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Yes.
You
It's,
read papers, you read books. But I
Yeah.
think personally the most interesting genre has to be when fiction and non-fiction, the line between these two gets blurred. And I
Yeah,
have
I agree.
recently, I mean, there are autobiographies which
Yeah.
can be considered as non-fiction, but they are told in a way that's very engaging, and you
Yeah.
are getting to know the story of a completely different person. So yeah, autobiographies or fictional books of, let's say, the Ministry of Utmost Happiness, Arundhati Roy, they are
Or
the line
1984.
between they are in these books the line between fiction and
Yeah, they
non-fiction,
get
they
very
completely
hazy.
Yeah.
and that is what interests me sometimes. It's not a regular thing, but yeah.
Okay, so I think both the communities, non-fiction readers and fiction readers, I think we have come to a treaty here. We can read autobiographies.
Yes.
We have come to a common ground. See, Devorshi suggested something very nice. I'm
a
proud.
mixture of fiction, non-fiction, like
Yeah,
Ministry
that's
of
the best
Utmost Happiness,
solution.
Yeah,
1984.
that's what. Like, no, not
Basically
autobiographies.
dystopia.
Yeah, we can, a book where the line is blurred so both the communities can come together and harmonize together. That is what we
And
want.
read together.
And read together. Woohoo! Okay, so thank you for joining the podcast, guys. I am glad that you participated, and thank you for sharing your opinions with me. And the listeners, thank you for listening to this podcast. Bye bye. This is me signing off from Flipping Pages Podcast. Toodles!